Hey there folks, welcome to another intriguing video. For a traveler, the one thing that puts them most down would be the uncontrollable amount of tourists. And at the end of the day, the thought of traveling to uncrowded, abandoned cities might sound like a better option as opposed to this. Well, let's see if you would still hold this thought after you've uncovered the secrets behind such abandoned cities. Number 10. Plymouth, Montserrat. Have you ever heard of ghost towns in real life? Sit tight as we uncover the secrets of Plymouth, the ghost town. Plymouth is a city in the Caribbean island, also the capital of Montserrat. With almost 4,000 residents, the city was as normal as could be until the evacuation announcement came up in 1995. The nearby volcano was on the verge of eruption and it deemed unnecessary for the residents to be moved immediately. The destruction caused by the volcano was far from life-threatening, and seeing this as a sign, the residents moved back in. But fate took a different approach, and 2 years later, when the Saphir Hills volcano erupted without notice, the damage was deadly. The whole city was covered in 40 feet of ash. Can you imagine how dangerous it is? Since then, tourists have been denied entry to this ash-covered city. Of course, it doesn't stop daredevils from visiting the place and taking pictures. If these events have not affected your mindset, then those pictures will surely make your mind refrain from ever stepping foot in that city. Want to know something crazy? Plymouth is considered the only ghost town in the world that is the capital of an island. Number 9. Hashima Island, Japan. Hashima Island is located on the eastern side of Japan. The interesting aspect is that all of the residents were coal workers. During that time, Japan was focused on lifting its economy and diverting all its attention to coal mining. But all of this started getting complicated when Japan found petrol to be more profitable than coal. Slowly, the coal industries were forced to shut down their business and the coal miners were given little to no payment for their hard work. All of the 5,000 coal workers who resided on the island left the city. Today, the Japanese government has restricted entry to this abandoned island solely because of safety issues. Here is where it gets interesting. The island is considered one of the spookiest islands as it is rumored to be haunted. The prisoners during World War II were held captive here to force them into labor. Now you can figure out why it is haunted, right? Number 8. Ghost Cities, China. Do you know how even the most trendy and most modern themed cities can become lifeless and scary without people? This is the case of ghost cities in China. You may be thinking of a maximum of 2 or 3 cities, right? I hate to break it to you, but there is almost 50 such cities in China. Imagine stylish buildings, drool-worthy apartments, perfect roads, and no people to inhabit those cities. But why are these cities not occupied? To start off, the Chinese government came up with the idea of building more and more full-fledged cities all around the country to cause a surge in the market. Since China is on a roll to take over the US in terms of economical power, they realized that this is an easy method. But these cities are always under construction, which means that there is no way someone could actually become a resident there, not to mention the non-existent security in these cities. If you lose your way or get robbed here, there will be no one to help. That thought alone gives me goosebumps, not the good types. Number 7. Fordlandia, Brazil. Ford is the name that makes everyone's head turn around. There is also a chance that you might link the company name to the city's name. Well, you're wrong. Henry Ford, the owner of Ford, had a light bulb moment that made him invest in rubber making. It all went well until it came to this building, a city in Brazil. Not just anywhere in Brazil, the Amazon jungle to be exact. He wanted to make use of the resources from the Amazon jungle, and for that, he went ahead and made a city right in the jungle. The city was named Fordlandia, and the factory and houses for workers were all included in this city. It is safe to assume that Henry Ford had not taken the factor of safety into account before diving into building the city. Except for the native tribes who lived there, the city stood out like a sore thumb in the forest. Long story short, the city had to be abandoned and some of the buildings are now destroyed. A city in the world's most dangerous location. Who would have thought? Number 6. Varosha, Cyprus. Imagine the tourist sensation, Vegas, losing all of its people suddenly. Varosha, a city in Cyprus, is one city that lost all its population in a short while. The luxury of this place attracted celebrities from all over the world, which in turn boosted their fame. But all good things come to an end. In 1974, Cyprus was attacked by Turkey, resulting in the evacuation of the whole place. The residents fled the city as soon as the word about the attack spread. But what they could not control was time. Since they rushed in a hurry, they could not do anything about their belongings. Moreover, they had left with a guarantee that they would soon come back to the city. But that did not happen. Even though the attack happened years ago, The city is still at risk of being attacked at any time. This has caused the people to refrain from moving back in. The city remains deserted till this day. That was quite a mind-boggling start. Before we proceed with the scintillating 5 at the top of the list, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 5. North Brother Island, New York. With the unfortunate situation of COVID-19, everyone is aware of quarantine and the process that goes behind it. Ever thought about how this would have played out in the past during the smallpox pandemic of the 1800s? North Brother Island is located in New York, but not many people are aware of its whereabouts as this is an abandoned one. During the smallpox pandemic, people were left with no other options but to send them off to this island. The city built on this island served as a quarantine center for smallpox patients. When the pandemic died down, this 20-acre land served no purpose and was completely abandoned later. Today, the government has banned entry to this island, cutting it off from human contact. Pretty scary, don't you think? Number 4. Centralia, Pennsylvania. A once perfect city, Centralia was a place that screamed ordinary. Located in Pennsylvania, this city has changed entirely after the case of a cold fire underground. The living conditions worsened to a point where residents were forced to leave as their health was at risk. The cause of the fire has not been disclosed and can be stated that this is no regular fire incident. What makes this haunting is the fact that this fire has been burning for more than 50 years. A baby born during the time of the incident might be in their 50s now and still be clueless about the reason for the city's unending fire. This doesn't end here. The fire is expected to burn the same fashion for another 200 years. Can you imagine the temperature underground due to a fire burning as long as 50 years? Almost 400 degrees Celsius. That is enough to melt your bones. No one can enter the city as it is restricted by the US government due to the hazardous environment. We are down to the top 3 now. Take a deep breath and prepare to get your mind blown to the next 3 cities. At number 3, Island of Dolls, Mexico. Dolls may come across as cute to us. But what about an island full of creepy dolls? This city in Mexico houses tens of thousands of dolls. From the top of the buildings to even the smallest trees, these dolls can be spotted everywhere. The whole city is almost like walking into your worst nightmare. So how did this city go from normal to dolled up? Don Julian is a guy that started experiencing supernatural activities which led him to hang up dolls all around his house as a way to ward off the evil spirits that haunted him. Needless to say, the hanging expanded from his house to the whole city within a short while. To think that this guy spent almost 50 years of his life hanging dolls to keep himself safe is beyond crazy. Now, the city is obviously abandoned, but the dolls are still present all over the place. One glance at this place and I'm sure the movie Annabelle won't be a frightening one compared to this one. Number 2. Wittenoom, Australia. Wittenoom is claimed to be one of the deadliest and most dangerous places in Australia and maybe the whole world. You may think this has something to do with ghosts and paranormal activities, but no. The thing that caused the downfall for this town is blue asbestos. The city was where people discovered asbestos. As a result, the amount of asbestos that was found had no limit. Years later, the government forced people to move out of their houses. Before you question the government's motive, let me fill you in. The government had found out that asbestos is a cause of cancer. By then, some of the residents who had already been affected by lung cancer found no other way except to leave their homes. The government then proceeded to wipe out any traces of the city's existence. Today, there is no methods to reach the city, and even if you do, what you will find are warning signs everywhere you turn your gaze to. Number 1. Pripyat, Ukraine. The number 1 spot is taken by Pripyat, a city in Ukraine. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster is something that we can't wrap our heads around even today. Pripyat was a normal, crowded city with beautiful views. No one could see the disaster's range that seeped in when they were asked to evacuate due to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986. Within hours, the danger of the situation escalated, leaving Pripyat, which was the nearest to Chernobyl power plant, the most affected. The radioactive chemicals are more dangerous than one can even begin to imagine, which crosses out any chances for other places to be re-inhabited. As a result of the disaster, the city will be left untouched for the next 1,000 years. Even then, one can never be sure about the chances of moving back to Pripyat. So that's it, folks. By now, I'm sure you guys are either super terrified or super excited to check out these abandoned cities. Let us know in the comments below. Repeat the mantra after me. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. See you next time.